Clip number 6, there's one to go after this. There's 7 clips altogether in this session on muscles. Now we're going to look at the gluteus, the organization of the gluteal muscles. So I'm going to go here to this picture. And so there's, what we have, our buttock muscle is 3 layers. Gluteus medius is in the middle, and maximus is the most exterior. And then interiorly we have what we call the minimus. So the maximus is the most exterior, and the very thick, coarse fibers that run obliquely. So they run this way, okay? And the medius then is between the minimus and the medius, and the maximus, or is the medius. And you can see their fibers run a different way, as well as the minimus, which is the most interior. And I don't have a great picture here. But you can imagine it's the bottom layer here, and that creates a great strength to this muscle and creates thigh extension and abduction together. Now remember, we are talking about, I can't see that iliopsoas there. I think in the next picture you might be able to see the iliopsoas. I'm talking to myself there, sorry. Okay, again, just another picture. The next thing we want to look at is the diaphragm, and the diaphragm is a, remember, this picture is a great picture. So the diaphragm is a structure that separates the abdominal pelvic cavity. Okay, it's pierced by our aorta and our vena cava and our esophagus, and it is skeletal muscle, but it operates like it's smooth muscle. It's an automatic muscle. We don't control it by saying, "Oh, I think I will contract my diaphragm." It does it automatically. In fact, it does it at least 12 times a minute so that we can breathe properly. The muscle fibers in the diaphragm are stimulated by the phrenic nerve, which comes out of the back of your neck around your C3 vertebrae. And it comes down and automatically stimulates it. So if people have a spinal fracture, above that, the chances are they won't breathe. Remember Superman there? When he fell off his horse, Christopher Reeves, when he fell off his horse, he had a C3 fracture, but someone must have been there to give him CPR right away. And he needed, after that, to be ventilated, or what they do sometimes during the day is put them on a phrenic pacer so that they get this continual stimulation, and then at night they would put them on a ventilator. So the purpose of the diaphragm contracting, of course, is to decrease the size of the abdominal pelvic cavity and increase the size of the thoracic cavity, which helps us inspire or take a breath. Now, the next thing we want to talk about here is hiatal. So hiatus is an opening, all right? And this picture here looks like a mushroom. But what we're looking at is the diaphragm from underneath. So here's the vertebrae, all right? And here's where the vena cava would go through. And here's where the esophagus would go through. And when we're talking about a hiatus, it's a hole. Why is this important? Because sometimes, I'm going to draw it this way, our esophagus comes down and our stomach would be below here. Okay. Sometimes what happens is the stomach migrates up like this, and we get what we call a hiatus hernia. The esophagus itself has a very alkaline nature to it, and we would not have any acid coming up there. Now, we've all had those, I call them sticky burps, where you feel that burning in the back of your throat. Someone who has a hiatal hernia would have that all the time, and that's because this hole has gotten too large and the stomach is migrating upwards, and there's various treatments for it, maybe surgery, but hopefully not. Now we'll look at the abdominal muscles. So again, I'm going to go to pictures because that's the best way. Okay, so the abdominal muscles are a series of muscles that are arranged in layers, and their fibers are going to all run in opposite directions. Now, below our sternum, to our pelvic bone here, we don't have any bone to attach to. And what we have is what we call a linea alba. Okay, the linea alba is this band of connective tissue that provides for an attachment. Now, these muscles work together to help us in a variety of physiological processes that we need to do, like expire air out of our lungs, push air out of our lungs, defecate, urinate, vomit, childbirth. All of these are examples of why we use these muscles. And there, you'll notice that their fibers are all running in different directions, okay? And that, again, creates a lot of strength to this area. And you know, if you've had the flu or something and you've had to be up vomiting, how sore those muscles can actually get. Okay, just a different picture that shows you how they are arranged. Now, most of us have a lovely covering of subcutaneous tissue with fat over top of it. Not everybody, but a lot of us do, and that, of course, doesn't create that nice smooth look that we have there, what you call a six-pack or whatever it's called. So this picture here is showing you, again, different ways that they're arranged, which is important to understand. Their name often relates to how they're arranged. And finally, this picture, what we're looking at is we've taken a cross-section of them and looking at the different layers that make up all of these muscles. And you can see why it creates this really strong function for us through contraction.